Texas mayor is accused of tampering with government records. Good evening and thank you for being with us tonight. Hawkins Mayor Deborah Rushing is charged with tampering with government records. Also charged Matthew Eddington of Hawkins. KLTV7's JD Conti has more tonight on what we know so far.
This morning, Texas Rangers and DPS troopers raided the Hawkins home of Matthew Eddington. Now he's been arrested, along with Mayor Deborah Rushing. The arrests are part of an ongoing Rangers investigation. In an arrest affidavit obtained by KLTV, Rangers allege that Rushing was wearing a personal recording device while at a meet and greet last month. In one clip, Rushing allegedly discusses the termination of Hawkins police officers. In another, a citizen asks about information being provided to Eddington. The affidavit states this put Rushing in a position of acting under her official capacity as mayor, making the video an open record. The affidavit says an open records request was made for those videos, but the city said it didn't exist. The affidavit say that Rushing then gave those recordings to Eddington. He allegedly posted the clips on YouTube. The affidavit says he narrated the video in a manner intended to harm and discredit the city council candidate immediately before the local election. Eddington is a regular face at Hawkins city council meetings, often a voice speaking against leadership. The ranger who wrote his arrest affidavit called his actions derogatory and hateful. JD Conti, KLTV7 News.
Tonight, both Rushing and Eddington remain in the Wood County Jail with bonds set at $10,000.